All right, guys, welcome back. Episode, I don't even know now, 83, maybe something of that nature. I'm going to stop keeping count of that. For those that don't know me, for those that are joining me for the first time, thank you. My name is Paulo. I am Special One Cards on Instagram. That's Special ONE Cards. Make sure you throw a follow there. It certainly does help me quite a bit. If you're not following the show yet here on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to your podcasts, please do give me a review, like it, share it with your fellow collector or even soccer fans, because we do discuss a lot of soccer on here and relate them to the cardboard. Obviously, the cardboard being kind of the primary kind of focus here. But thank you again for joining me. Again, we're kicking off this content bazaar that I've been doing twice a week now, which has been great. I've really enjoyed doing this. I've enjoyed you guys with all the feedback you guys are giving me. A lot of you guys coming through and just giving me props. I really do appreciate that. I do this for all of us, for the community, etc. So before we start, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing this, but this Saturday, September 27th, Clark, New Jersey, at the Clark Recreational Hall, there will be the all soccer cards and collectibles show of New Jersey, put on by Hooks on Soccer Cards and Sack Cards, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It is free admission, so I hope you can go there, especially if you're in the tri-state area. Should be an easy trip for you to get there. That's, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York. But I think the folks up in Mass, it's not too far either. I am going down Friday night, so I will be there for trade night. So trade night on the 26th, the night before it is tomorrow night at the Holiday Inn down the street from the Clark Recreational Center. If any of you guys from Mass or Maine or New Hampshire or Vermont or even Connecticut are going down and want a carpool, let me know. I'm up for it. I'm happy to drive. If you're having issues with driving, or you don't want to drive, let's say you're up in Boston and you want to drive, don't want to drive that far, but you want to kind of drive to Connecticut and just jump in with me, feel free to. I am spending the night down there though, so hopefully you are too. I think it'll probably be well worth it. I'll go to trade night to hang out, and then Saturday the big show is happening. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I actually have a physical appointment today. So I am seeing my doctor this afternoon, which will be good. So I can bring up my issue with my throat, my voice. So my voice is still not there, all there, but I hope you guys like that reel yesterday I put up on Instagram on the El Samba parallels. I think those are really cool. I just haven't seen any. So again, if you have any or bring them to the show. I want to look at them. I want to see one in hand. I think it'd be important to look at that. All right, guys. One of the things I kind of realized from the last episode earlier this week, is, I talked a little bit about the Ballon d'Or, the criteria, the the candidates, who the guys were that finished wherever they finished, and I gave Rafinha his flowers quite a bit. And I realized I didn't give Dembele his flowers, and I want to kind of start off the show with that and give him his kind of deserving flowers for the year he had. And a guy with like Dembele, right? Talk about a player like of his caliber, and specifically for me, he's a player that's just relentlessly grinded, and continued to grind his way to being successful. His story, a little chaotic, but at the end of the day, now with the Ballon d'Or, it has shown really brightly. He was born May 15th, 1997, in the quiet town of Vernon, France, to a Malayan father and a Martyrian mother. Dembele was a street soccer savant from day one. Age 13, he was a dazzling at Evro FC. That's Evreux, for those that know how to pronounce that correctly. I think I did a good job, but we'll see. His explosive rise would take him from French academies to the pinnacle of world football, obviously. So we've seen that happen thus far. And it's just not a tale of triumph with this kid. It's one of resilience, flair, golden sphere that ended up being the Ballon d'Or that he actually won a few nights ago, which is fantastic for him. So um, his journey kicked off in 2014 with Stade Rennes in League One, as we know, a powerhouse in Liga that produces quite a bit of talent through the years. We've seen a lot of really good players come out of that academy. At 17, he was a blur on the wing, scored 8 goals, and added 7 assists on his debut season in Liga. So you have to understand where we are today. You look at Lamine Yamal, right? Very kind of, in terms of the goal scoring numbers, kind of similar, right? As a young kid. He then made a move by summer of 2016. He went to Dortmund, right? He made a move. They paid 15 million for him, um, which later on turns into be quite a bit of profit for Dortmund. In the Bundesliga, Dembele didn't just adapt; he really electrified there. 40 games, 12 goals, 20 assists. He also had a hat trick. Excuse me, jaw dropping hat trick of assists when he debuted. So that was something really unique and wonderful that he experienced at Dortmund. He his flair helped Dortmund reach the 2017 Champions League final, where they fell to Real Madrid. For those that remember that, the Belly star burned so hot for France. He debuted internationally in 2016, and then by the end of 2018, he was hoisting up, as we know, the World Cup trophy after a gritty 4-2 final win over Croatia. Shout out to Croatian football collector. Sorry, you guys lost that final. And so Dembele's had some remarkable successes through the youth levels coming up, both at Dortmund, Stade Rennes, and then with France, obviously winning the World Cup in 2018. He then moved, like I said, Dortmund moved him to Barcelona for 105 million in 2017. He was very much kind of I don't want to say this and confuse people, but to many people he was Neymar's heir, right? First season won La Liga, but then injuries kind of hampered his success continuously again. Hamstring tears, a busted foot from a video game mishap, for those that do know that. 6 seasons at Camp Nou, 40 goals, 43 assists, 185 games. Hardly what Barcelona expected from their $105 million purchase. I wouldn't consider him a flop at Barcelona. He just didn't perform up to the expectations. And we started to think about $100 million transfers. We started to kind of look at João Felix, right? João Felix in no shape or form was as good as Dembele's $100 million price tag. So, but in La Liga, obviously, at Barcelona, with a lot of eyes on Barcelona, he drew a lot of criticism there with all the sidelining of his injuries. And from many of the critics, right? The pundits, the media, etc. at the Barcelona. There's just a lot of eyes on the players at Barcelona. So you can imagine the kind of painstaking kind of attention he received with that, especially that $105 million price tag. He did win La Liga twice more while there at Copa del Rey as well. But then again, the old whispers of wasted potential, they lingered on there. Off the pitch, his maturity grew. He captained France youth squads and mentored rising stars as well. So that was really kind of, his time at Barcelona really productive in some ways, but not productive in other ways. When you look at the numbers, those are not bad numbers. 40 goals, 43 assists, 185 games, pretty good numbers. Is it $105 million numbers? Probably not transfer, but, it worked. Then 2023, the transfer to PSG happens under Luis Enrique, right? Dembele reinvented himself, right? No injuries. He played 50 plus games in his debut season, had 6 goals and 15 assists. Pretty good numbers for the player, the position he played, right? But then 24-25, we saw really kind of the Dembele that we all thought we were going to get at Barcelona when they paid that $105 million fee, right? Across all competitions last year, Dembele had 35 goals, 14 assists, helping PSG win Ligue 1, the Champions League as well, as we know. For France, he dazzled the Euros as well. The Euro 2024, I want to mention that. Nations League qualifiers. And then at 28, he finally became the player that we all expected. Thus far, his career numbers, if you think about that: 300 club appearances, 80 plus goals, 100 plus assists, a World Cup winner, League One champ, and also now a Ballon d'Or winner. So a player that's really kind of, I would say, undervalued in the hobby. We're going to look at some of his cards and see what happened kind of during this week here early on, and with the Ballon d'Or suggestion, see if there's been any kind of things happen with his cards, right? I think it's important to kind of take a look at those. But, in terms of Dembele and versatile right winger who can, a tremendous left foot, can really play anywhere on the right or be the left if he needs to. But he is suggestively more of a right wing player. He's fast, high acceleration. He's very agile. Can change directions exceptionally quick. So his dribbling is fantastic. So you guys know the scouting report. I don't need to go over that if you think about that. Um, in many cases, the analytics say he's the best ball carrier in Europe, especially in PSG's 4-3-3. He's kind of the X factor there. 85% pass accuracy, 3.5 dribbles per game, and really has just kind of a way of himself to sometimes kind of create the spectacular, right? There are moments where I've watched him before where you see him do something and you're kind of like not expecting a goal to come, but then he scores. He's just that type of player. I think we just underappreciate him, both in the hobby and also obviously kind of I don't think the pundits or the media really appreciates him enough either. So that's the kind of the thing that I kind of think about it when I think about Dembele and his playing ability, his playing style on the field, that kind of effect. I just don't think we see people praise him enough, and maybe now he'll get more of that. We'll see. We're gonna look at his cards and see what they've done so far since the Ballon d'Or, right before the Ballon d'Or. See if there was any movement, right? If there was any there. So Dembele, he beat obviously Lamine Yamal for and his teammate Vitinha as well. Mo Salah as well as Rafinha, the kind of the top five that rallied out there. Dembele had 1,247 points from the Global Journalists for the Ballon d'Or. His 35 goals last year were really tremendous. Domestic treble, Nations League success there, had some success there. Champions League winner, just, a tremendous player. Sports Illustrated said basically that Dembele didn't just play, he redefined wing play. Again, that's Sports Illustrated, who probably does not have enough people full-time covering the sport as much as they should. But that's what they came up with that quote. Dembele didn't just play, he redefined wing play. That's debatable, obviously. I think Dembele's kind of he is spectacular, is known for the spectacular at times, but he's kind of a simplistic kind of winger too when you think about it and the way he plays. He's the third first-time winner since 2020. He joins Zidane as a winner of Platini as well. I think has won the Ballon d'Or. I think there's only been 3 guys that have won it for France, and he becomes the third one. So he's really kind of an electric winger. To say that he can be simple, for sure, he can do that, but he can also be kind of a mesmerizing player to watch, and obviously show that kind of ambidextrosity on the field of what he can do with the ball. All right, so his cards. We're going to talk about his cards. 2016-17. Generally, I think his 2017 Panini Select Gold. I want to focus on that one. PSA 10s fetch about $1,200. It looks like lately. We're going to look at this in a second. There's also the 2016-17 Panini WCCF Young Stars card, which are really affordable. They're $10 to $20. 2018 Prism World Cup is one to look at. Card number 85 climbed about 20% recently. Values for that card peaked in 2022, obviously during that transfer, this time at Barcelona. So we'll look at his cards now. I'm going to share my screen because I think it's important to take a look at his cards so we can kind of get an idea of, has the Ballon d'Or kind of impacted the value of his cards before, after, during, whatever you want to call it, right? I think there's probably some truth to that that possibly could have happened. So, all right, so let's look here. Let's first look at dates sold. So these are kind of the highest. Let's actually look at the highest ever sold. We'll start there. We never really do this. So, here's one right here: 2017 Panini Select Dembele Field Gold. Field level gold prism of 10, as you know, PSA 9 sold for $1,200 on August 6th. So that's even before the Ballon d'Or. Back in March of 22, tie dye from the same set, PSA 10 sold for $900. So you can see at that time they were really high. Third highest sale of a Dembele card was a sticker, a 2016 Topps Bundesliga sticker, which was card number 106, sticker number 106, I should say. Rookie card PSA 10 sold on the 22nd, which is that was Monday, right? So today's the 25th. Yeah, Monday. So it's kind of before the Ballon d'Or ceremony, or was that during the Ballon d'Or ceremony? I can't remember if it was Tuesday or Monday. $700. $700, guys. So obviously people were buying his cards. Here's another one: 2017-18 Dembele Zebra of 25 rookie PSA 10 sold for $649 before the ceremony. So those are the highest selling cards. You start to think about Dembele's third, fourth, and sixth highest selling cards ever happened this week with the Ballon d'Or ceremony knocking on the door. So, and then you also have another one. I think the seventh card, $500, another PSA 10 rookie sticker, 2016-17 Topps Bundesliga sticker. So really interesting. And then you had a treble actually sold on the 18th as well. You'll see it there. Rookie blue of 75. So there is some impact when you look at kind of the highest selling Dembele cards ever. Now I'm going to sort this by date sold. We're looking at this date sold. So even Dembele PSA 9 World Cup 2018 France. PSA 9 sold for $30 on the 23rd, which is 2 days ago. The 23rd, you had another sale here. HGA for $16.95. Not bad. or HGA 9, which that grading company is gone. For those that don't know about that grading company, hit me up on it on Instagram. I can tell you about that grading company. They're no longer in operation. I believe they're not. 2016-17 Bundesliga Dembele rookie 106 sticker, $500. Here's another one. First row rookie sticker. This is in the label that they put up. Seems like his rookie stickers did really well this past week. You had a raw one sell for $49.99. Pretty good. You had a BGS Adrenaline FIFA 365 Gold, 365 Gold, number 32, 95 sell for 200. Another a match attacks here, another adrenaline here, gold for $12.99 raw. You had a prism base for $2, pretty good price. You had a black red checkerboard case hit SP from 2017-18 Panini Select sell for $100. PSA 8, which is pretty good for PSA 8. But given the market where we're at, this is what's going on. Here's a raw Hyper Prism from Prism that sold for 32. And I'm looking for more unique cards here and you guys see them on my screen, so I won't kind of dig into them. Here's an interesting one: a 2019-20 Topps Finest of 50 sold for $50. They put rookie card in the description, which is kind of crazy. It's a Phenoms card, so you can see it here. It's in a Barcelona kit. Maybe people just see that as more valuable. Could be. But I would prefer not to have one in a Barcelona kit, as is, transfer fee was very high there, but didn't perform to expectations. So that card sold for a nice health $50. I think that's probably a good deal, to be honest. Here are these 2016-17 WCCF, for those that don't know about these cards. Pretty nice card here. You can see it here. It's a really nice card, actually, but it's kind of got his ratings here. And these are part of a game. I don't know much about it. But sold $8 raw. Again, these cards don't present tremendous value to many people, but they are kind of unique because sometimes these cards are first-time player cards that they appear on a card. So some people may call them true rookies, some people may not. Here's the Zebra. Again, like I said, sold the other day on the 20th for $649.99. You had a tie-dye sell for $549. So and that was a PSA 10. Both PSA 10s, you can see that there's about $100 difference. And there's only 5 more of the tie-dyes. So pretty good. Let's see what else here. Here's a rookie debut ticket for the ticket collectors out there. Stade Rennes debut ticket autographed. This is more of a shout out to Ignacio collection type of product. $237.53 for that, which I think eventually, former Ballon d'Or debut ticket, Ligue 1 in the Stade Rennes kit, Stade Rennes game versus Bordeaux will be a nice collector's piece for somebody to have. Other than that, I don't really see. Here's a PSA 10 that sold for $4 on auction, which is crazy. Oh, this is a different Dembele. This is Karamuko Dembele, player that never really panned out. But here's a treble, guys. Sold for $275. PSA 9 2018, some people might call this a rookie. I'm not sure. Of 75 PSA 9. I think somebody got a really good reel on this, a good deal on this. Color match. Look at that. Pretty nice card. You can see there. Dembele, treble, PSA 9, sold for 275. So, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but these cards are some interesting sales happened up until the days before and after for Dembele. So it's good to see that there's some love for Dembele in the hobby. I certainly would love to get a nice card of his. I think one of the things I probably want to start to do is kind of start collecting Ballon d'Or winners, but collect specific cards where I'm not going to break the bank, and you can kind of make that your own collection. So what I mean by that, you may say, you know what, I want to collect all Topps flagships of Ballon d'Or winners during the Topps era. So you could start a Topps Chrome, right, from 27-18, although that could be expensive getting a Ronaldo, but you get a base one. You could just say you only want base cards in PSA 10, so you could just get the base collection. You get what I mean? So you can be creative in creating your kind of collecting journey or specific way to collect. So for me, it would be kind of every Ballon d'Or winner since whenever, making the date. And this is when I talk about plans, why it's important to create plans for yourselves in developing kind of a way to collect. You've heard of Ignacio collection. He only collects number ones in serial numbers. So he only collects number ones. Usually it's Portugal. So he's very focused in what he collects. Just an idea. If you guys want to collect Ballon d'Or winners or a specific parallel, you could do that too, right? You could do whatever you want. It's up to you. That's the interesting part about collecting is that you can create whatever you'd like. At the end of the day, it is your collection, and you can collect whatever way you want to. So I'm just trying to throw ideas out there on different ways you can collect. You heard Cajun Cardboard. He's collecting the all golds from the 2017 top set, which is a daunting task, but it's achievable. But it's a cool way to do things. It might be very expensive, but it's a very cool way to do things. So I hope that kind of helped you guys, give you guys little flowers for the Dembele fans out there. Nobody got in my DMs or anything or complained or anything like that, but I just felt I listened to my episodes after I do them, and I started to realize I didn't give him his flowers that he deserved. I gave Ruffy his flowers, and I needed to give Dembele his flowers as well. So that's Dembele, and hopefully he has another great season coming up here. This microphone kind of makes the screen a little too bright, which is not good. So I got to figure out a better way to do this. So where you guys come in and getting a studio, right, to try to kind of help me build out a studio at home so that I have better lighting. So hopefully we do a merch drop soon. We'll see. I haven't kind of decided yet. I'm going to wear that hoodie this weekend to see if people would be inclined to buy one. And I'll probably make some, like I said, I'll make some different ones and with some different iconic images for them. All right. So another quick thing for you guys, kind of an announcement here. So Collectors Universe. For those that don't know who Collectors Universe is, they own SGC, they own PSA, they own Card Ladder, amongst a few brands. They just dropped a major announcement yesterday on the 24th, about changes to the grading fees, of course, and the turnaround times for cards, comics, and everything else they do in between, graded balls, graded Funkos, things of that nature. Those changes are effective today. So I wish I could have reported this yesterday, because maybe you could have gotten your cards that you need graded into their system updated with the new pricing structure, with the old pricing structure, so that it wouldn't affect what you're grading now. So why the changes? PSA has been slammed lately with submissions, as you guys know. Some of you guys know this because you have some stuff that you've sent with me to get graded. I have stuff that's still there from over 10 months ago, or 11 months ago. I don't know. It's crazy. So there's a lot of stuff still there. Primarily, a lot of the stuff that's kind of holding up for me is the graded autos, grade the card in the auto. That stuff is kind of held up. But anyways, so in the first half of this year alone of 2025, PSA graded 8.89 million cards. That's wild. They're clearly the biggest player in the grading space at the moment. And to keep up, they're expanding with new facilities like the one they're opening in Toronto. They're supposed to be opening one in Toronto next month. And I know the European one was announced over in Frankfurt, Germany, which is fantastic for the hobby in Europe, which will help our soccer hobby grow over there as people kind of, I don't want to say get away from stickers. There'll always be that sticker culture, but I think it brings more people into the soccer space, the soccer card space in Europe, whereas stickers are more attainable. Cards might become more attainable for them as well, and the grading aspects of it, and kind of creating an economy that's an economic impact. I should use the correct words here, that shifts the sticker market to the card market, where there's more liquidity, there's more kind of stuff being sold, traded, etc. That's important. So, but their backlog right now. So what's going on is they're getting backlogged, right? If it takes them 15 days to even acknowledge the packages have been received, then that's an issue. I mean, that's something that you should probably notify. Like for me, when I try to look online to see that the package has actually been received. It's taking them up to 15 days to do that, which is not good. I mean, you could check your tracking with USPS and see that it got there, but same time, you're kind of like, well, it says it was delivered, but did PSA actually get it or did somebody else get it? Because you'll notice the PSA addresses are kind of different for different service carriers and different from their actual facilities. So it can be confusing. So let's start with the bulk service, right? Which is usually the go-to for me. It's like when some of you have submitted cards to me to submit to PSA, that's what I usually do. I do the bulk service. I don't charge you guys extra money. The only thing I charge for is the shipping, right? The shipping the cards back to you. If I'm shipping cards already, I don't need to charge you shipping. So if you want to grade stuff and you want to send them to me, I'm happy to do it. But I do charge you guys the shipping and the insurance that PSA charges me for the return of the shipment. So that's it though. I don't upcharge you like some of these other guys do. I know part of their business model, so I get that. So the fees are going up from they were $19.99, they're going to $24.99 per card. It's pretty significant if you think about that. Basically a $5 change in grading. So now it kind of bears the notion of you can't grade everything and you can't grade certain cards and that type of thing. Now the turnaround time is also stretching from 65 business days to 80 business days. Again, like I said, I've got packages there that are over that 65 threshold and the 80 threshold too as well. So it's a full month longer than you'd expect. So I think what PSA here is trying to do, they're trying to kind of nip this in the butt to kind of control the grading that's being sent in. I think people grade a lot of cards that shouldn't be graded. I know I do that too because I have stuff that I want to put in my PC, but because I want them to slab. So in some cases, some of us are kind of to blame for this, but it is what it is. Now, the maximum declared value on that will stay at $4.99, so there's no change there. Next, the modern tier for cards from 1980 through now is going from $39.99 to $49.99 per card, with turnaround time extending from 20 to 35 days. That's a 15-day jump, reflecting the huge demand for modern cards if you're grading newer stuff, right? Now, this is different than the bulk submission. The bulk submission is when you submit a certain amount of cards, a certain total amount of cards. I believe it's a minimum of 20. The modern's kind of different. You can submit, I think, 10 or actually less. You can send 3, 4 cards, whatever. I think there's no minimum for the modern tier. Now, the modern plus, the fee's going from $59.99 to $69.99 with turnarounds creeping from 15 to 18 business days. Not too bad there, just a 3-day increase. That's not bad, but it's extra $10. So not only is your price going up, but your turnaround time is going up 3 days as well, which makes it tough. Now, if you're into older cards, the vintage tier, primarily for cards pre-1980, it's going from $79.99 to $89.99 with turnaround times ballooning from 35 to 50 days, business days. That's business days, guys, not days, business days. That's a 15-day increase. Vintage Plus is going from $99.99 to $109.99, and those are moving up 5 days, 25 to 30 days. So you see kind of a thing here that's going up. Cost is going up, and then the turnaround times are going up as well. For the premium collectors, that one, the express service, you'll see, and these include graders notes. For those that remember, it's now $179. It's up from $149, so that's a $30 increase, and that is going up as well from 5 to 7 business day. Still very fast, but you're paying for that. That's a big, significant jump. $30 extras, and a few more business days. But again, if you have a big card and you want to get it in there, that's cost of doing business. Now, the good news for some are the value plus, and regular tiers haven't changed. So that's $19.99 for value at 65 days, $29.99 for value plus, and then at 45, that's at 45 days, and then $50.99 for regular at 20 days. Also, for the TCG guys out there, bulk level for trading card games like Pokemon stays at the $18.99 for 65 days, so no change there. Few other changes that are not really significant to us, maybe from some of you guys that collect tickets, but ticket authentication value tier is still $39.99 with double max values and a faster 78 5-day turnaround time. So reholdering has gotten a bit more expensive, and that's a damn train, man. I hope that mic is not catching that so loud. So, and then also PSA is grading comics and magazines too. I have some cool magazines I probably should grade. They'd probably be cool to have. I don't understand that market, but I think there's some cool stuff in there. But reholder services got pricier but faster. Comics and magazines, again, like I said, modern tiers also gone from 20 to 35 days. And magazines had prior delays due to tariffs. I'm not really sure why. Might be the holders. I don't know. But, PSA, they're just trying to control their business right now. Obviously, this is not a kind of a greed push. This is more of a slow it down. People, we don't need all this stuff being sent in at the same time. We don't need all of this. They don't need the influx. They might not have enough graders as well. That's part of the problem. So, I've seen some social media has been there's been a lot of frustration there. Higher fees, longer waits. They're making the kind of the low value submissions hard, right? And I think for many of us in the soccer space right now, even for me, all the stuff that I sent in 10, 11 months ago, even for some of you that sent stuff with me at that point in time, for us, it's good because we're going to get this stuff momentarily and we're going to get it to peak. So it works out for us. But for the people sending in stuff now and they want that stuff graded so they can flip it and turn it around quickly, becomes an issue. That becomes kind of a tough kind of thing to explain. So what do you guys think about these changes? I'm curious to know what you guys think about these changes and what's going on. I think it's a tough one, but I think it had to be done for PSA, and that's just kind of the way it goes, unfortunately. So I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to pop back on, and we'll go into our prospect kind of dive. Probably not really a prospect, but somebody you should keep your eye on right now, and he's a Team USA player. All right, guys. So as promised, I wanted to bring you a special part of the episode where I cover a rookie or an emerging star, emerging player for you to go take a look at. Now, remember, I am always looking for players that I seem that to me are undervalued or are progressing at a level that is substantially enough to make a play or really kind of take a shot on if you're investing or even if you're collecting. So today, without further ado, it's very exciting. We have a U.S. player. Yes, that's right. You heard that correctly. A U.S. player. And I'm specifically talking about a United States national citizen that is making waves with the U.S. system. Talking about a player that's playing in Ligue 1. He plays for Lyon, Olympique Lyon. Tanner Tessman. That's right. The 24-year-old midfielder right now is turning heads in League One. I've watched a few of his games, and he's been really impressive. Now, he was born in 2001. He just turned 24, I believe, last week or either last week or this week. But he is a 6'2", right-footed midfielder. He plays as a hybrid defensive midfielder or a kind of a box-to-box midfielder, a true kind of 6/8 role in the midfield. Now, his journey is one to kind of really be happy about, but also understand that it's come with a lot of hard work from him. Started at FC Dallas in the MLS, went off to Venezia in Serie A, and now made the big move to Lyon for, I think it was about 3.5 million euros this past year. He's a very big physical presence. He's got technical flair, and he's starting to really look like the complete package for Lyon and possibly for the United States national team. That's what's exciting to see. Last season, he was kind of an adjustment period for him. He only played 35 matches and only racked up about 1,840 minutes, so roughly about 50 minutes per game. Lyon's midfield was stacked, so it was hard for him to break into that lineup. But this season, it's a different story. As last year, Lyon was really chasing a European spot, so it was really difficult for him to break that lineup. But he did score one goal, showed off really his passing ability, and wasn't able to kind of lock down a starting role this past season. But fast forward to this season thus far. Tanner Tessman is on fire. And I don't really cover a lot of U.S. players, but this kid is something to behold right now. I've watched him develop here in Lyon, and I like everything I see about him as a U.S. fan, as a U.S. World Cup hopeful, kind of, I hope that team does really well, obviously. But thus far this season for Lyon, 5 starts, 450 matches, 450 minutes, sorry about that, and a match-winning goal and a 1-0 victory over Angers just last week on September 20th. Here's some of the statistics that we're going to talk about. 74th for touches in the opponent's box, third for defensive duels won amongst League One midfielders. Ligue. He's really dictating the play, staying composed, and even there are whispers in the crowd from the pundits, the publications, the fans. He's showing some young Paul Pogba vibes. That's right. I don't want to compare him directly to him, but as of now, from what I've seen, and I can understand why people have said this about him, he's flying. Lyon is flying. He's playing really well for Lyon. So what makes Tessmann really special? He's a modern midfielder's dream, really. His passing range is elite, no doubt about that. I've watched him play about 5 times or so, and his passing range is certainly elite. Think about, when we talk about passing range, think about long diagonals and switches that carve open defenses. At 6'2", he's a physical beast, obviously. A very big midfielder. Not along the lines of your typical midfielder, if you think about it, right? But here's a Pogba comparisons. He can shield the ball really well and drive forward with solid dribbling. He's ambidextrous, so he can turn out of pressure really quickly with either foot. That's important. He has no problem doing that. Defensively, he's aggressive. He's smart with his positioning, and he tracks runners like a pro. A lot better than he did when he was at Venezia, from when I saw him play there a few times. Off the ball, his brain is always thinking, especially in transition. Excellent player in transition. He's perfect for Lyon's high-pressing possession-based system under Paulo Fonseca, who was AC Milan's coach last year, who was then replaced by Sergio Conceição. He's a guy who can control the game from deep and still pop up in dangerous areas. So under Paulo Fonseca, I think he'll develop further. Paulo Fonseca is a great coach to learn under. He has a knack for developing young talent, so I think it's a very important cog to Tessmann's development. Now, in terms of the U.S. national team, he's only got 6 caps for the U.S. national team wearing number 11. He has yet to score or assist in any games for them. His debut was in September of 2023. Mostly he's come off the bench for them in friendlies and in Nation League games. What's really interesting, though, his experience, he captained the under-23s to their best Olympic finish since 2000 at the Paris 2024 games. That leadership has earned him the 2024 U.S. Soccer Young Male Player of the Year award. His last call-up was earlier this year in March, but with his form at Lyon, I think Mauricio Pochettino has got to have his eyes on him at this point for the World Cup 2026 role. Tanner is knocking on the door for a role on that team. Now, how can he improve? Tessmann's got some work to do. His aerial game is a little bit weak, despite his height, unfortunately. He's losing a lot of headers in League One. And this is something that League One teams can exploit with their set pieces. Defensively, he can get caught out in quick transitions sometimes, leaving some gaps that hurt the back line. While his passing is top-notch, his goals and assists are lacking. So I think he'll learn that stuff as he goes along this year. This is going to be a very important season for him to develop further. Another issue with him is he's hesitant to shoot from range. That's holding back his attacking impact. So I think Fonseca is going to help him with that, and he'll develop. If he can tighten up those things, he's going to be something to really be proud of for the U.S. national team for the World Cup. Now, his rookie cards. Tanner's rookie cards are a steal right now. I really say that. They're really a big steal. His cards dropped in 2020. He's got a Bowman card in the Dallas kit. They're floating around eBay and ComC. Some of them are cheaper than others. There's some graded stuff out there. It's a little expensive, but I think you can make the offer to some of these sellers that are looking to kind of get rid of these players, or if they're people that actually aren't paying attention to what players are doing, you may be able to get a steal. So let's take a look at his cards. You guys can see, I'm going to post up his cards here. I'm going to go on eBay. I'm going to share the screen so you guys can see it. And the other thing to note is he has no European cards released yet. So what I mean by that, he's got no Europa League, no Conference League, no Champions League, no Topps product yet for UEFA. So he's got nothing yet. But I imagine something's going to be coming. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So let's take a look on eBay to see what's out there right now. And you'll see here's the Bowman card. So you can take a look at what it looks like, just so you have a good idea. That's the Bowman card. For you guys that don't know, there's the Bowman card. And you'll see there's a few parallels on here, some different prices. The bases sell relatively cheap, obviously. Here's his MLS Pitch Prodigies card number 190. It's an insert. His Bowman card is card number 34. There are some golds on eBay. Here's a gold. No, this is 75. the rookie yellow. Then there's a gold. I did see a gold on here for 40. No, that's 75. Here's a gold of 50 for 149.99 or best offer, PSA 9. I would say go in, make an offer. Maybe they bite, maybe they don't. We'll see. That'll be up to you. Hopefully you get lucky. If we look at his sales for the last year or the over the time as cards have been out, my kid's hanging out on me over here. It's kind of funny. You'll see some different sales on Card Ladder. I'm going to show you those really quick too as well. I think it's important. So you guys get a kind of a general lay of the land on what pricing is looking like for this kid. So for Card Ladder, we look at Card Ladder and you'll see his, there's the Bowman card right there. You'll see it right there. His highest sold card, let's look at the price, highest sales ever, was $2,000. This is not even a rookie. It was a Superfractor. The CSG 9, the 2021 Topps Chrome MLS Superfractor. Tanner Tessman, CSG 9, sold for $2,000. His orange in March of 2022 of his Bowman rookie. Now, this is the rookie you do want. Number to 25. There it is. So you can see what it looks like. $139.19. That was back in March of 2022. Back in December of last year, a Panini Mosaic 1/1 black Mosaic Serie A card sold. He's got cards in Mosaic Serie A in a Venezia kit. There it is. His 1/1. It did sell for $133.50. So my kid wants to make a guest appearance here. So guys, there it is. There's a cap for you guys to look at some of his cards. I think they're really cheap. It's like I said, like I always tell everybody, you go in low and you hope for the high return. Now, if you're a collector, it's different, right? You might want to keep the card. You might want to do whatever you want to do with it. But for some people, they buy stuff. They buy stuff for investing and moving it later to flip. So I think this is an opportunity here. Potential World Cup coming up, 2026 World Cup, potential starter, depending on how he continues. All right, that's a rookie or the prospect or the feature guy of the week, guys. I hope you like that.